Welcome back, trainers. So we're going to be taking a look at my second Jungle Cup tournament here. But before we take a look at the official battles, let's go ahead and go over my team and see what we have going on. All right, so taking a look at my team here, I do have the same lineup from the last tournament, except for I substituted the Wigglytuff for Vespiquen. The reason why I did that is, yes, Wigglytuff is amazing with the new move Charm. That move is just killer. It just digs through everything. But I didn't want to rely on the charm this time because using the charge moves, obviously is going to work. It's going to be nice getting that shield off of them or possibly doing a good amount of damage depending on what you're going up against. But I wanted to leave it out this time and go with the Queen here. I really like this going up against the Vigoroth as well as several other different Pokemon. It can hold its own, and if you somehow get locked in up against a flyer, well, you have Power Gem, which you can do super effective damage. And it's pretty tanky. It can take body slams from the Vigoroths. Now we have the Noctowl to go up against the possible other flyers or bug types as well, and a few grasses. I don't think I use my Noctowl. I might have, but I'm not too sure. We'll look at those battles here. The Vigoroth, I didn't use it as much as I expected. I didn't want to rely on it as much as I did on the last cup and kind of throw the opponents off, maybe expecting a Vigoroth to come in there, but then having nothing. So they bring in a fighting type like, say, Heracross, or Vigoroth isn't fighting, but, the counter to go up against it itself, and it's not even present. So therefore, I don't have to worry about that. It's great, but I just didn't use it. I would say this was a big help. Lantern was fantastic. The thing is tanky, and I really enjoyed it for this cup and these rounds that we did go in here. It did what it needed to do. Last time I did use Venusaur in the last tournament, but it didn't really help me out too well. This time around, you're going to see it played its role fantastic. Thank you, whole pal Green. And then we have Fortress, which is going to be the MVP. I'm going to say that, folks. This is the MVP of the team, and it did great. Used it to enter a lot of the first rounds, just going in there first with it, and whatever came out, it could tank flying moves to some degree, and going up against another Vigoroth, it still can hold its own, depending upon what you're going to be using. I do have Earthquake and Heavy Slam on this one, as well as Bug Bite. And the other moves, as you can see here, pretty standard for these. You're definitely going to want to go with Bulldoze and then that Body Slam on your Vigoroth, Psychic, and Sky Attack. Now, the reason why I have Psychic instead of the Nightshade is because doing Nightshade up against the other Noctowl, possibly, if you had that mirror match, it's not going to be doing much damage because you're going to be normal type. Also, Psychic is just dealing a great amount of damage if you had to get it off in a specific situation. So there's my team, folks. Now let's go ahead and look at these battles. All right, our first opponent is going to be Baknoy. He's actually the host of this specific tournament as well, and he is doing a great job. This is going to be his second tournament that he has put together. Big shout out to him. I will have a link in the description for the Twitter that he uses to post information about the tournaments. So I will be starting it off with the Fortress. He's going in there with Wigglytuff, and we're looking great. We do not need to switch. We're just going to keep on going here and hitting up those heavy slams. Now, I did decide to let this go through, knowing that I will be able to survive, and if he can possibly burn another shield, that would be great, but he does let this one go through. In comes his Fortress, so it is going to be able to get a bit of energy there. I do have Vespiquen and my Lantern behind my Fortress, and we have to be weary of the Earthquake, but I knew it wasn't quite there yet, so I did let that go through. Not very effective, and at this point I was just gaining a bunch of energy so I can hit off another Thunderbolt right away. Now, keep in mind, if my movements for the animations for the attacks, in which you have to hit these right here like this, seem a little sporadic at times, it's going to be towards the end. It was kind of to throw my opponents off and not really to have them know exactly what I was doing in that situation. All right, so he has no more shields, and we're looking great here. Now we're going to go ahead and hit that excellent on the Thunderbolt to finish off that Lantern on his end. We do have a bit of lag here, and that's odd. I don't know if he was gaining energy there, and I got a disadvantage, but that is fine. We're just going to keep moving on. In comes my Queen here, and we still have a shield, so we're looking great. We are definitely going to be shielding this up, seeing that we haven't seen what the second attack is on that Fortress. It could have been Rock Tomb, in which it would have took me out. We're going to go ahead and finish that off with X Scissor there. And this is going to actually be my first tournament using the new charge animation deal. So I liked it, and it is very nice. And how did I avoid trying to having my opponent seeing what I was going to be doing? Like I said, I kind of just was very sporadic and didn't really show the patterns and or hit it under the table, or just, you know, I don't know, whatever I had to do. So we will be getting off that heavy slam using a shield on his end. In comes my Lantern to finish off that Graveler. In comes the Breloom. Now I need to watch out for grass moves, so I do switch into my Vest Queen, and I will be able to tank things, but I wasn't expecting a Sludge Bomb. I knew that's something you should run. Did a good amount of damage, and at this point I'm just going to get as much energy as I can at this point, so I can just get off a bunch of X Scissors onto the next opponent or Pokemon, which is going to be the Vigoroth there. We're just going to spam it away. And the bug animation is fairly simple. Just follow the lines there. And we're able to get to a third one. I do decide to use that shield, of course, because this is going to be my second to last Pokemon, but I still just want to be safe here and get off another one of these. Excellent. And can we finish it off with Bug Bite? Not quite. He's going to be using that Body Slam there. But in comes my last Pokemon and just does one Water Gun. That's going to be the Lantern. Good games. Moving on to the next opponent, we have Scarlet Witch. So I'm going to be starting it off with Fortress. She's going in there with the Sceptile. And this is a fantastic situation for me. So we're just going to hold tight and use no shields at this point. And I was contemplating if I wanted to get off that Heavy Slam, but I figured I might as well just Bug Bite all the way through and save that energy for the next Pokemon, seeing that we were just tearing through it with our quick moves there. In comes the Lantern. Now I do want to go for the shield bait here and see if we can pull a shield out. And then we're going to try to get to that Earthquake, and we do. That's fantastic. Hopefully she doesn't shield it up, expecting another Heavy Slam. She doesn't, and it basically one-shots that Lantern. Now that Noctowl does have a bit of energy mixed with another shield, but we are looking great. We do have the Lantern on our side, in which we are not going to have to really shield much. So we're just going to hurry up and get to that Thunderbolt there. But I do decide to just get a little bit more energy. I don't know why. I could have just ended it there. I did see she had another shield. Probably that's why I just want to do back-to-back Thunderbolts. So we're just going to get to that again. I think I shield this one up. Yeah, just to be safe. Yeah, I know I was able to tank the Nightshade as well as the Sky Attack, but, you know, you never know. And my Lantern does go in and finishing it off with one Water Gun. Moving on to the next round here. Starting it off with the Queen, and she's going in there with Lantern. Now, this is not a good situation for me, but what I want to do here is gain a little bit of energy, retreat it, and go ahead and go into Lantern here, a fairly safe option. Thunderbolt will do a decent amount of damage, but we're going to be shielding that first one up. And she will be hitting back-to-back because she had a good amount of energy saved up there. And now we're going to go ahead and go with our Thunderbolt as well. See if we can hit that. Excellent, and we do. Now we're looking great. She still does have two shields on her end, so we need to look out. Let's see what she's going to have in the back here. It's going to be Wigglytuff, and I'm able to get off a Thunderbolt before I go down. I wanted to get to Hydro Pump, but that Charm was just digging into me. Seeing that she had two shields left, I figured she was going to shield up that first attack anyways. In comes my Fortress, and we're looking great here. This is a positive matchup for me, being super effective to that Fairy type over there, as well as reduced damage from the Charm, but it's still digging in quite significantly. And now you can see why Wigglytuff with Charm is just great for this cup. Getting to another Heavy Slam here, and just going to be finishing it off. No more shields on her end. In comes her last Pokemon, and that's going to be Vest Queen. Now we do have this all charged up, as well as a shield behind us, so we're looking great. That's going to be doing super effective damage and basically one-shotting. So those are going to be great games. Moving on to 907 Filling Kids, and he's going to be starting it off with the Queen. I'm going in here with Fortress. This is a good matchup for me. Power Gem will do a great amount of damage to Fortress, but like I said, it can hold its own and do a lot of damage depending on who you're going up against. So I figured I can just hold this down here. This is where I start doing my patterns all weird for the charge moves to kind of throw my opponent off if they were trying to see. I'm not saying they were looking at it or nothing, but as you can tell here, it's a little weird how I was doing those X's. So we're still holding it down and using no shields. And we did get two shields on his end. So we're looking fantastic. We do have Lantern and then Vigoroth in the back here. And we're not going to be getting off any charge, obviously. We're just going to be finishing it off with water guns and still not using any shields on our end. Our Lantern is down past half health, but with great energy and 2 shields on our end, so we're looking just nice. So I did decide to go ahead and go in here with the Vigoroth, get as much energy as I can, and start to use the shields here. And my plan was to go for the Bulldoze, but by the time I got down to so much energy accumulated, I was able to just do a Body Slam. Now, I messed up on the animations there. I was so in the heat of the moment, I forgot that we had the new charge animations, so I started tapping the middle for a second. In comes his Vigoroth, and I do have a lot of energy, but I mess up here, and I do not tap Body Slam right away, and I was wasting all that energy. And I was a little nervous here because I wanted to win all my battles without losing, but he was not able to finish me off, and I did have that energy stored up on the Lantern and able to finish it off with those Thunderbolts. So that is going to be a good round. Moving on to the next one here. I did not switch my lineup whatsoever. So we're still going in here with the Fortress, and he has the Lantern. This can be positive for either end, depending on what you do, on how you shield bait. At this point, he did have quite a bit of energy. I figured he might be going for Hydro Pump, so I decided to shield up. And I wanted to gain a lot more energy than Earthquake required, so I did go ahead and go with that Heavy Slam to shield bait. Gain a little bit more, and then go for that Earthquake to see if we can pull a shield out of here. Or at least 2 shields will be looking great. If he lets this go through, we're still looking positive. In comes the Noctowl here, and I do decide to just go all in and go for a Body Slam and not switch, so I can still have my switching advantage there. He does use his shield, and we have no more shields on his end. In comes my Lantern, and we're looking fantastic, folks. So we're just going to go ahead and tank this. It's going to be a Psychic, yep. That's what you want to do going up against Lantern. Unless you're just about to faint, you might as well use that energy before you go down. We're going to go ahead and hit up that excellent Thunderbolt, taking down that Noctowl. No more shields on his end. And I will be switching into my Vigoroth here and storing a good amount of energy. I wanted to go for Bulldoze, seeing that I'm in the clear to use whatever charge move I wanted without wasting the energy and having that shield come up. And he is able to get to a Heavy Slam here. And my Vigoroth survives and finishes it off with counter. Now, folks, the match you've been waiting for, going up against Bone Chip. And he is ranked pretty high. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And his rank is going to be number 7 worldwide for the Silph Arena, which is quite significant. I do have a very positive matchup here. And it was during the, I do believe, Rainbow Cup when the points were giving a substantial amount and rising your rank, and I did not perform so well as regionals, which I was not able to actually participate because the game was being glitchy, and also that really hurt my ranking, and that is why I'm only ranked at about 1,000 here. So we're looking great. We are countering. We went in with the perfect lead, so we're looking fantastic. And of course, I didn't use a shield there. I had the energy to get off a Thunderbolt, but I did not want to waste that shield at this point. We're going to go in here with the Fortress and tank every single hit. In comes his Lantern here. So I do decide to go for the shield bait, and this is where I was getting weird with my patterns. I didn't want him to know exactly what I was doing. This one's a little obvious, you swiping at the bottom, but I do believe I had my phone underneath the table looking down. And in comes the Venusaur, and guys, we're not even using a single shield this round, so we're looking absolutely fantastic, taking out that Venusaur with Bug Bite. Moving on to the next round here. I did not change my lineup whatsoever, but I did say, hold on while I change my team. Alright, so he does start off with the Venusaur, and I will be hard countering him with, of course, Venusaur myself. Now, we're just going to tank this and store as much energy as we can at this point. But we do need to be careful as to not letting him get off with another Thunderbolt, so we do go ahead and go with that Frenzy Plant, finishing it off. We stored so much energy, we do have a Sludge Bomb ready to go, in which I will be hitting that no matter what comes out. And we will be getting only a Great, but that's alright, he does use a shield on that. And down goes my Venusaur with a ton of energy. That's perfectly fine. We still have 2 shields and a counter to that Noctowl. Now at this point, we're going to store as much energy as we can, so we can hit up whatever comes in next with the Thunderbolt. And we're not going to be using a shield here. We can still tank a Psychic, but he is hitting me up with Sky Tech, chipping away at my Noctowl here. Now it's about time to go ahead and go for that Thunderbolt. Let's see if he uses his shield. He does. Now we're looking great. In comes the Venusaur, and he does do that quick switch, and we go right into our fortress here as to not take that Frenzy Plant on our Lantern. And we're looking great. And at this point, I knew it was in the bag, and we're going to go ahead and just tank these hits here. And we're going to go ahead and go with that Heavy Slam to finish off that Venusaur. In comes the Noctowl, and we have so much energy stored, we're able to go for another Heavy Slam. And there we go. Good games. Alright, trainers, so this was a fantastic tournament for me. I came out on top, didn't lose a single set. So it was a kind of small churnout, but we still had some good competitors here, like Bone Chip, Scarlet, Edgar Martinez, Phil Kids, and Baknoy. I mean, everybody else is great competitors. We did have a few new people join in the scene, which was absolutely fantastic. It's always nice to see new faces and people being a part of these PvP tournaments, because you guys know, ever since the beginning, people were saying that it's just tap, tap, tap. Ever since Niantic has just recently switched it, so it's more Ninja, Fruit Ninja, which is great. I love that different interaction, and I'm really having a good time here. So thank you, Baknoy, for putting this together. Now let's go ahead and look at some of the images from the competitors. All right, so here we have myself, Bone Chip, and then Scarlet Witch.